In this lesson, we'll start on the initial approach for an overhead brake landing pattern. This technique is the safest and most efficient way to recover a lot of aircraft quickly, but this is an advanced technique that requires familiarity with aircraft handling on approach. Before flying this
lesson, make sure you're familiar with procedures described in the VFR landing lesson. I currently have the lesson paused. Press spacebar when you're ready to get started.
First, let's quickly run through the entire process. I have placed a series of gates that show the flight path used for this technique. As you can see, we're on the initial approach to the landing runway at 1,500 feet above the ground and about 300 knots. We'll brake left over the touchdown point, extend the speed brakes, and perform a level turn until we're flying in the opposite direction. We'll ensure our airspeed is below 300 knots, extend the landing gear, and trim to an AOA of about 11 degrees. We'll continue flying level until reaching a point where the end of the runway is about 45 degrees behind us. We'll bank left, lower the nose, and maintain 11 degrees AOA as we align ourselves with the runway. We'll roll out and fly the rest of the approach exactly as we did in the last lesson. Press spacebar to continue. Now that's a lot to digest, so don't expect this to go perfectly the first time, or even the 10th. Each approach is unique with its own challenges due to crosswind, aircraft weight, runway length, and a host of other factors. Use the gates ahead as a guide, but feel free to deviate if necessary. Focus on rolling out aligned with the runway, on speed and on glide slope every time. How you get there is not as important. Now press spacebar when you're ready to give it a shot. I'll talk you through it as we go. Okay, maintain alignment with the landing runway at 1,500 feet above ground level and 300 knots calibrated airspeed as shown in the HUD. We're over the touchdown point, so brake left. Set throttle to about 80% RPM and open the speed brakes. Fly the brake at about 70 degrees of bank and 3 to 4G. Relax the G as speed bleeds off and keep the flight path marker on the horizon line to maintain a level turn. Now roll out opposite the landing heading at about 200 to 220 knots. Extend the landing gear and confirm 3 green gear down indications. Start to reduce speed and trim to an angle of attack of 11 degrees with 2 or 3 clicks of nose up trim. Okay, peek back to the left to check your position. Start the turn when abeam the rollout point. That's about when your wingtip is at the end of the runway when viewed from the cockpit. Lower the nose to 8 to 10 degrees and fly the turn at 11 degrees AOA. Now roll out on final and raise the nose to maintain the proper 2.5 degree glide path. The goal is to roll out in line with the runway at approximately 300 feet AGL, 1 mile from the touchdown point. Okay, shift the flight path marker forward to the touchdown point. Gently pull back on the stick to flare and reduce the descent rate, but don't level up. Pull the throttle back to idle and touch down with a max AOA of 13 degrees. Don't exceed 15 degrees or you may scrape the tail. Maintain 13 degrees nose up for aero braking until your airspeed is below 100 knots. Reduce back pressure and lower the nose wheel to the runway. Open the speed brakes fully and maintain full aft stick for maximum braking effectiveness. Yeah, nice job. Engage nose wheel steering when below 30 knots and take the next taxiway to the left. That can be tough to get right, so feel free to restart the mission and try again. Remember, the gates are just a guide, and the path will vary depending on conditions and your own technique. You can end the lesson now by pressing escape or taxi to parking on your own.